Hello YouTube, Crystal Page Sky here, and I'm starting my new LP. Okami! Just wanted you guys to see that, it's pretty epic. Anyway, I guess we'll start. The now loading sign is so cool in this game, I love it. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. I love square now loading signs. Anyway. So, if you are new to my videos, I'm just some girl who's really into sci-fi and fantasy and stuff like that. And, if you're also new to my videos, you should check out my finished LP of, Let's Play Metroid Other M. LP. Why did I say let's... Okay, I'm just confusing myself. Oh, I'll show you guys this. It's kind of cool. And I'll read it to you, too. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a tiny village by the name of Kamiki. You know what? Screw that. We're gonna skip it. Sorry. You're gonna get the lowdown on that anyway. Alright. And this game is pretty awesome. I'll just say that now. We're gonna have a new game. Okami. Alright. I'm gonna be doing voice acting for this. Kind of. Because they have like a weird little murmur thing going on. But I'll be reading over it. It's not like I'm gonna purposely try and make voices and stuff. Story. Heidi. Kamiya. I think I said that right. Okay, sorry, I'm such a weirdo. Hey guys, does this look familiar? Long, long ago, a tiny hamlet known as Kamiki lay nestled in the grove of proud and beautiful cherry blossoms. Each and every tree around the quiet burg was honored as a god. Oh, cool. I want to be a tree there. However, the village was not without its dark secrets. Dun dun dun. Ah! Monster! To satiate the appetite of Orochi, a fearsome cave-dwelling beast, a young maiden was offered as a sacrifice at the annual festival. With a body like a mountain and 8 heads mounted on necks the size of tree trunks, its blood-red eyes alone were said to curse anyone who gazed into them. No one dared disobey the horrific beast. So we got a really creepy dragon, eats people. This is already off to a depressing start. Sorry. When the night of the sacrifice drew near, a mysterious white wolf appeared outside the village. Ooh. A wolf. This wolf, its coat as brilliant as snow, was dubbed Shiranui. I don't care what you guys say his name was. I say Shiranui, or Shiranui. I flip between it. The wolf kept a watchful eye on anyone who ventured outside the village, and made a habit of patrolling the streets at night. People assumed the wolf to be a familiar of Orochi. Well, don't assume, because assuming's bad. One villager took it upon himself to face the fearsome Shiranui. The warrior Nagi attempted many times to challenge the wolf, but his attempts were thwarted by Shiranui's swift movements. Before long, the night of the accursed festival had arrived. A white-plumed arrow heralded the coming sacrifice. Okay, just remember that. Remember that little thing about arrows. Anyway. Piercing the sky, the arrow sunk its shaft squarely into... Oh gosh, scary. The home of Nami, the village's most beautiful maiden. Nagi, harboring a secret love for Nami, was enraged by the sign. Determined to put an end to Orochi once and for all, Nagi traveled to the beast's cave in place of his beloved. Aww, how kind. The Moon King, a place as dark as evil itself, served as Orochi's home. As Nagi stood bravely before the entrance, a beast appeared, eyes glowing crimson upon 8 thrashing necks. Orochi stood tall before him, anxious for another sacrifice. Nagi leapt with incredible grace, swinging his blade valiantly. On and on he sliced, well into the moonless night, but Orochi's hide was like steel. The blade left nary a scratch. Nary. It's a funny word. At long last, Nagi, his energy spent from the intense battle, dropped to his knees, fatigued and gasping for breath. He knew he was staring death in the face. It was then that the wolf appeared. Yay! As if to protect Nagi, it stood its ground before Orochi. In the darkness of the cave, the wolf's coat shone brilliantly. Alas! Sorry, that's kind of an interesting pick of words. Anyway, alas, it was Shiranui, the wolf that dwelled outside the village. Bearing its fearsome claws, Shiranui leapt towards Orochi. Orochi reared its terrifying head, readying its fangs for battle. The two beasts struggled wildly, thrashing in the darkness. Mysterious and terrifying, the spectacle continued. Shiranui summoned gusts of divine wind to counter Orochi's flames. Cool. Yay. As Orochi closed in on Shiranui, sharpened claws glistening, a gigantic tree, yay, a tree, sprouted forth, shielding Shiranui fought gallantly to gain the upper hand. However, Orochi, protected by a mystical power, was not easily bested. Shiranui, covered in gashes, majestic coat dyed crimson, stood exhausted before the mighty Orochi. Orochi saw a chance to strike that would be the final blow. What would be? But Shiranui refused to give in. I have something to say about that later. Anyway, with its last ounce of strength, the majestic wolf gazed heavenward and unleashed a mighty howl. Suddenly, the black clouds overhead dissipated. The light from above glinted off Nagi's sword as a beacon of hope. Guided by his sword, Nagi, who had been taking shelter in the shadows, stood proudly to face his adversary, channeling all his strength into his scarred and battered arms. He leapt ferociously toward Orochi, his sword poised high. The golden sword danced in his hands like a puppet on a string. One by one, Orochi's fearsome heads separated from their owner. Violence. Well. Orochi's broken body collapsed in a lake of its own blood. In that instant, the curse that plagued the villagers was lifted. As the battle subsided, the sun shone once again in the sky. Shiranui had succumbed to Orochi's poison and struggled to breathe. Nagi scooped the beast into his arms and returned to Kamiki. When they reached the village, Shiranui was no longer moving. So sad. The village elder gently stroked the wolf's head. In response, Shiranui let out a hoarse and pitiful bark, then closed its eyes and drifted off as if into slumber. Peace had at last returned to Kamiki village. In honor of Shiranui's heroic exploits, the villagers erected its shrine and placed a statue of the wolf within it. Nagi's sword was christened... Okay, let's see if I can say this. Tsukuyomi, and placed inside the moon cave. The villagers all looked forward to an age of endless peace. However, the this is not the end of the story. This is when you get to see some of the awesome art in the game, guys. I'm so excited. There is more to this tale than most people know. 100 years have passed since Nagi and Shiranuai's heroic exploits. It happened so quickly that no one in the village even took notice. Is this the legendary sword? Is this Tsukuyomi, the sword that banished the dreaded Orochi? ... No, it couldn't be. It's just a legend, nothing but a fairy tale. Oh snap, what did you do? Oh snap, oh snap. Yeah, run. Oh, he who seeks power, he who has broken my bonds. Speak the words, I wish darkness unto the world. Utter that prayer unto me, and unleash my power. Don't do it! Don't do it! Oh gosh! Oh no, guys! Looks like Orochi's back! Perhaps this is where we come in. All the trees! No! No! The trees! Oh no, the sun! No! Oh, I can't see. It's dark. It's dark. The now loading screen. You're gonna see a lot of these, guys. Woohoo! A horrible tragedy suddenly swept over the land. However, there was one village that seemed to escape the terrible curse. The tiny settlement of Kamiki Village enjoyed the protection of a sacred tree. I like how it shows the wolf and it says sacred tree. Anyway, I think we're gonna have to end off the part here. I'm probably gonna upload 2 parts today, but yeah, I will see you in the next part.